Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back. So we actually received two new hotfixes today. Obviously one for the beta and one for the live. They are quite, there's a lot of changes. There are a lot of changes, especially to multiplayer when it comes to the live, right over here. And just overall, a lot of crash fixes and some big changes when it comes to formations and all the orders and stuff you can give. I am making this hotfix video in this format where it's just obviously me going over both the threads. I just don't have enough time right now to do the whole script thing. It's a very long one as well. The next ones will be kind of more script oriented with like some background, with some footage in the background. Unfortunately, I have to go pick up, not unfortunately, but I have to go pick up my kid soon, so I need to get this done as quick as possible and get it to you guys. So without further ado, let's read through it, let's explain it, and go from there, right? All right, so this is the beta. This is the 1.5.7 beta, and it does state when it's also in the 1.5.6 hotfix on here. And for the multiplayer changes, I'm pretty sure they're not mentioned here. Only the top ones are. We're going to go to the 1.5.6 thread when the multiplayer changes do come up. All right, so let's get to this. First, they fixed a crash that occurred when an uninitialized inverse kinetics data was accessed for human characters. I'm be honest with you, I have no idea what that means, but it's a crash fix, so good to see. Next, we have is fix an issue that prevented melee combat effects, knockback, knockdown, dismount from working properly. So they should work properly now. You can knock down and dismount units from horses as you should have before. This is also in the 1.5.6 hotfix. Next, there is fixed discrepancies towards body armor weights. Okay, so there were some discrepancies. I'm guessing some armors weighed a little bit too much, some armors weighed a little bit too little. That is now fixed. Also in the live hotfix. Next, we have is fixed an issue that granted clan influence from dead clan members with Immortal charm perk. Okay, so this perk obviously had something to do with clan members, and it should not have given you any influence if the clan members were dead, and now it is fixed, as it should be, also in the main hotfix. Next, it is fixed misspelt settlement names on the campaign map, also in the hotfix, in the main hotfix. Good addition, good to see. To be honest, I had no clue some of them were misspelled. I'll really be honest with you, the names are very, I can't pronounce 90% of them, but good to see. Next, we have is fix some campaign map performance problems. Good. I think this has to do with the stuttering problem that a lot of people have been having as of 1.5.6 and 1.5.7. So this is very good, and the devs have talked about it previously, so good to see. Next, there is fix an issue that blocked borrowed quest troops from trained troops issue quest from entering hideouts. Okay, so this issue had to do with the trained troops quest. It's the one where you take the troops with you, you train them to become veterans, and then you send them back and they give you gold. There was a problem where they would not enter hideouts. Now they should. Next we have is fix an issue that made a barter impossible to complete while offering to marry a noble. That's a big problem because marriage is a big part of the game, so that is now fixed. You can properly marry. Next, we have fix an issue with siege icons on settlement nameplates not working correctly. Siege icons will now disappear correctly after a siege on the campaign map. Also, adding the missing siege icon for the preparation phase, also in 1.5.6 hotfix. This is huge, and hopefully it does finally work how it's supposed to. Too many times I've ran up to a settlement thinking it's being siege, and it's not. It was previously siege, but the icon is still there. Or when a settlement is actually getting sieged, the icon is nowhere to be seen. So hopefully this is finally fixed as it should be, because the icons are supposed to be very kind of like helpful to you for you to make good decisions, but when they don't work properly, in a way they mislead your decisions and make for, a lot worse gameplay. It sounds like a small fix, but this is actually big. Next, we have is fix bugged athletics, riding, throwing, polearm, and one-handed perks, also in the main hotfix. Good to hear. I don't know exactly what perks, kind of vague, but if it's fixed, it's fixed. Cool. Then we have fix an issue that led to uninitialized temporary parties that could hold noble prisoners to exist longer than intended. Again, don't know exactly what all this is about, but it is an issue that's fixed. Good to see. Also in the main hotfix. Next we have is fix the crash that occurred after the declaration of war in the Spy Among Us quest. Also 1.5.6 hotfix. Cool. Crash occurred whenever there was a declaration of war during this quest. Now fixed. Then we have fixing the issue that caused morale gain in battles after a successful hit with a weapon for non-player characters. Okay, so this gain was not supposed to happen, but now it will be as it should. Okay, so there was a lot of morale gains that were happening, even though they weren't supposed to, but now it should be fixed. Next we have is disable the ability for riders to rear their mount when it is already rearing due to collision or taking damage. Also in the 1.5.6 hotfix. What this means pretty much, when a horse rears, that pretty much means it gets on its two back legs and kind of like, you know, goes up and the player should fall off of it or just get really slowed down. And I guess there was a problem with the horse continuously doing the rear animation even after they just reared. So I don't know if that's how you say it. Is it reared? If it's, I have no clue. But now it should only happen once and it should not be spammed like it was before. Next, we have fixed Spring of Gold perk effect and capped to a maximum of 1,000 gold per day. Okay, so this perk effect was very profitable. It is now changed to actually be, you know, kind of sensible. Next we have is increase the chance for players to experience defensive sieges by adjusting the total power inside of settlements where the player is located to 70% of its actual value when assessed by NPC parties. So this is something we did talk about in a previous thread. What this means pretty much is when AI calculates if they should continue a siege, once a player joins, they don't see the full player army in their calculations, only a percentage is added to the calculation. So if you come in with 200 people, they're not going to see 200 people. They're only going to see, what does it say? It said where the player is located to 70% of its actual value. I think this is wrong because the devs were recently talking about how they wanted it to be actually 30%. So I think they might have wrote this wrong if I'm reading this correctly. Because the past percentage was 50% and they wanted to make it actually 30%, not increase to 70, because 70% would make it so there's less defensive sieges because the previous value was 50 and there already was no defensive sieges. So what I think they meant to say was 30%. So let's say you had a party of 200 people, only 30% would be shown to the AI in the calculations, which is 60 people. This is meant, this is done pretty much so AI continues to siege and you can have some defensive siege gameplay. I think this is written wrong if I'm not mistaken, or maybe I'm reading it wrong, but yeah. Next here is fix an issue where with fief tariffs being given as a I cannot say that word, man. I'm just gonna, you know what it is. So fief tariffs, there was a problem with it. It was a bug where, what's it called? I guess a lot of extra money was being given, and now that is fixed. Next up is fix an issue during the loading phase that resulted in crafted items appearing in tournaments and not being removed from towns. Okay, so obviously in 1.5.7 they pretty much said, hey, we're not doing crafted items in towns anymore because they were filling up the town very excessively, and there were still some problems with them staying there, and now this should finally fix it. Next up is fix an issue with stuttering while in the campaign map time is in fast forward mode. Interesting. So this right here, fix some campaign map performance problems, is actually different from what I was thinking, which is right over here, the stuttering that happened. Interesting. So there's actually extra performance problems that have been fixed. Very good to see. Next here is fix an issue with the player's sibling being shown as naked and in wrong education stage. So I think this has to do with if you, I don't know if this is with new saves or with previous saves. I think this is with previous saves because if you were in 1.5.6 and you had a child and then you moved your save to 1.5.7, what would happen is the education stages, there's a couple of them where you can like choose their perks and stuff. The ones that they missed in 1.5.6, because obviously education was not implemented then, those do not come back. Only the newer ones that they might hit. will be added to their perks. So I think that might be also another problem that happened with the education. Next, we have is fix an issue with the error menu not opening if the main hero dies while laying siege. Also in the 1.5.6 hotfix. So if the main hero died, what's it called? The error menu, I don't know if it said air. It's definitely air. The error menu does not, it doesn't pop up. Therefore, you can't really continue the game. Very big problem, but now it's fixed. And then finally, very big change. Added one-click orders to the F4 through F9 keys. Players can now give, and now he's going to list all the ones we can give. This is also in the 1.5.6 hotfix. So F4 right now is toggle fire, so if you want to fire or not. F5 is toggle mount, so if you want to dismount or mounts back up. F6 toggle AI. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't use too much of the orders. I'll be honest with you. I'm kind of a simple man. F1, F2, F1, F3, F1, F1. That's all I'm really about. You know, I'm a simple man. But F7 we have is face direction, which direction you want them to face. This is important for archers, and also if you're like having a shield wall. F8 is shield wall, and F9 is line formation orders. Cool. I don't know if people enjoy it completely. I see a lot of people saying nice work over here, so I think people are going to like it, but I think the people who want a little bit more in-depth aren't going to like it. You know what I mean? But I do like that it's more simple now, because I'll be honest with you, I never really learned the formations. I never really had any ambition to learn it, because they were very kind of confusing. And if you mess up a little bit of your commands, it just messes everything up. So this should be kind of easier for players to understand and get used to. So in my opinion, good change. Now, let me see if it's the same for this. We have some different multiplayer changes, even though there's no multiplayer on the beta, which is weird, but okay. So multiplayer, they fixed a crash that occurred while launching multiplayer. That's a significant crash. Hope that now that it is fixed. Then we have fixed a couple of map-related bugs on Captain Mode, maps Drummer Forest and Cliffs of Akalat. That is also in the hotfix, in the main hotfix. Okay, cool. Then we have fixed a UI crash that occurred when logging in or out. Again, very important. You want, whenever it comes to actually loading up the game or logging in, crashes like that are very important to not have. So it's good that it is fixed. That's also in the main hotfix. Then we have disabled the ability for riders to rear. Okay, so this is the same thing, but for multiplayer as well, where riders would continuously rear their horse, and it would definitely cause you problems. That is now fixed as well. And now this is for the 1.5.6. We have all these most single player changes we have gone over here. There's just in the 1.5.7 there was more single player changes added on top of the 1.5.6 changes. But for multiplayer, we have the same same changes, the same original ones, where it's fixed a UI crash that occurred when logging in. There's various spots that let troops fall through in Eberth Hill Fort Captain mode. Okay, that they will not fall through anymore. That's very important. Then we have fixed a couple of map-related bugs on Captain mode, the ones we just read, and then obviously the ability to continuously rear is also here. Now, for the rest of these changes, like I said, I'm going to link all this down below. But as you can see, it's a lot of changes to various weapons, and if you play multiplayer, you obviously want to find what you usually play, what you usually like, and what the changes are really there. A lot of these are just value decreases from damage or increases, swing speed. I could go over all of these, but there's not really a need for it. It's just, if you do play multiplayer and you want to see all like the value changes, link will be down below. It's on the screen right now. But yeah, like always, they just keep balancing multiplayer. Good to see that is still going. And yeah, there it is. Like I said before, I didn't have as much time to do the whole script then for this video. My apologies. Next hotfix, that's whenever it comes out, I will do my due diligence. But I had a little time restraint today. But very good hotfix in my opinion. A lot of good changes, and yeah, hopefully this was informative. Ask me any questions, any concerns, and like always, stay safe.